Hello students, we'll be continuing our previous class. In the previous class we studied about partition and the consequences of partition. Today we'll be talking about integration of princely states. I've been receiving a lot of doubts regarding this term princely states. What is princely states? Why is it called princely states? So this doubt will be cleared in this class. So let's start. Please look into your screen, the highlighted parts especially. British India provinces were directly under the control of the British government, and a part of our country was given to the princes to be controlled, subject to certain terms and conditions. That means India was divided into two parts, the yellow and the blue zones. The blue zones indicate the princely states, and the yellow part indicates the regions which were controlled directly by British. In the blue parts, for example, Hyderabad, Mysore, Manipur, Junagadh, these are the places, Jammu and Kashmir, these are the places where the prince of the states had control over those particular states, and therefore they were called princely states. And the rest part of India were controlled by British directly. So, it is to be kept in mind that almost 1/3 of India's area was covered by princely states. So, it consisted of a very large area. The problem was, after the British announced that India will be independent and their rule over India will be over, they gave kind of relaxation to the princely states. Before we get into those relaxations and terms and condition, let me tell you there were about 565 princely states. You can imagine. The small state of Orissa consisted of almost 26 small states. Imagine a state like Orissa, which we know as a single state now, it consisted of 26 small states inside it. So there were 565 princely states all over India. So where was the problem? As soon as the British said the rule of the British will be over, this meant that all these states, as many as 565 states, would become legally independent. They would become legally independent, and the British government took the view that all these states were free to join either India or Pakistan or remain independent. Join India or Pakistan or remain independent if they wished so. But this decision was left not on the ruler of the princely state but on the people of the princely state. I beg your pardon, not the people but the princely ruler. That is, जो रूलर बोलेगा, जो प्रिंस बोलेगा वही होगा, लोगों का सुना नहीं जाएगा यहाँ पे. The problem started very soon. The ruler of Travancore, the Nizam of Hyderabad, they all said that we want to stay independent. We do not want to join India or Pakistan. Now, giving you an example of Hyderabad, just look into the map. Where is Hyderabad? Here it is. Hyderabad. If Hyderabad says it will remain independent, that means all the surrounding states near Hyderabad will be Indian, and in between there will be a country kind of called Hyderabad. Now imagine a situation, Hyderabad joining Pakistan. Pakistan is right here. There is one more Pakistan, East Pakistan here, and then one more Pakistan will be here. So this was a very, very difficult situation for the administration as well as the government to take care of the situation and handle it in a peaceful manner. Now, the government's approach was very firm. The government directly said that the Muslim League actually opposed the Indian National Congress and took the view that the state should be free to adopt any course they like. At that point, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was the Home Minister in that crucial period. He played a historic role in negotiating with the princely states. It became very important that the princely state, the ruler of the princely states, that is the princes, had to be persuaded to join India. It may look easy, but it was very complicated task which required tactful and skillful persuasion. The government's approach was guided by three considerations. You can find this in your explanatory notes also. Firstly, the people of most of the princely state clearly wanted to become a part of Indian Union. Most of the princely state wanted to stay with India. Secondly, the government was prepared to be flexible to give autonomy to some region. So some region, despite they were with India, even if they come with India, they will be given autonomy. That means they will be given their own control over their area. The idea was to accommodate plurality and adopt a flexible approach in dealing with the demands of the region. Thirdly, in the backdrop of partition, which brought into focus the contest of demarcation of territory, the integration and consolidation of territorial boundaries of the nation had assumed supreme importance. India was already divided into two parts. A part was called West Pakistan, the other part was called East Pakistan, and now an internal partition between India can break the unity of India. We were talking about it in the last class where we studied the three challenges. The first challenge was keeping the unity and integrity of the country intact. Now, if the princely states were given free hand, they would join Pakistan. That means there will be an internal partition. Even if they did not join Pakistan or stayed independent, that would also mean a partition. So this had to be dealt with very, very tactfully. Before our independence, that is officially when we were declared independent on 15th of August 1947, some peaceful negotiations with various such princely states we persuaded them to join India, and it happened successfully. However, there were certain princely states which were very adamant. For example, the princely state of Junagadh, Hyderabad, Kashmir, Manipur, these proved to be very difficult than other states. The issue of Junagadh was resolved after a plebiscite confirmed people's desire to join India. What is plebiscite? I'll share a video. You will read about Kashmir. Moving on. We'll talk about the various states. For example, Hyderabad. What happened with Hyderabad, and then what happened with Manipur, and then we'll move on to reorganization of states. So let's talk about Hyderabad. I'll share a video about Hyderabad also, how Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel dealt with the Nizam of Hyderabad. There is a movie and the role of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, if I'm not wrong, was done by Paresh Rawal. This was a very, very good movie depicting what actually happened in those times. I'll be sharing a video as soon as I post this on YouTube. On your WhatsApp group, I'll post the video on WhatsApp group. Now, I'll give you a briefing on Hyderabad. Along with that, if you see that video, you'll understand how tactfully and how skillfully Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel persuaded the administration of Hyderabad, the Nizam of Hyderabad. This Hyderabad was a huge state. Some parts of old Hyderabad state are today part of Maharashtra, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. Its ruler carried the title Nizam, and he was one of the world's richest men. The Nizam wanted an independent status for Hyderabad, which was very, very obvious. He entered into what was called a stand-still agreement. What it is called? A stand still, मतलब एक जगह पर खड़े रहो. Stand still agreement with India on November 1947 for a year while the negotiation with Indian government were going on. मतलब जब तक इंडियन गवर्नमेंट के साथ बातचीत चल रहा है तब तक एक स्टैंड स्टिल अग्रीमेंट, मतलब इनका ना इधर जाना है ना उनको इधर जाना है, तो एक स्टैंड स्टिल अग्रीमेंट उन्होंने साइन कर रखा था. In the meantime, a movement of the people of Hyderabad state against the Nizam's rule gathered force. The people did not want. पहले मैंने कहा था ना, the decision will be on the ruler, that is the princely ruler of the state, and not the people. This was very a difficult situation for the people, because even if the people did not want to go in line, the people might not have the same line of thoughts as of the princely ruler. Even then they had to accept such decision. This was a very difficult situation for the people. In the meantime, a movement of the people of Hyderabad against the Nizam rule gathered force, and the peasantry in the Telangana region in particular was victim of Nizam's oppressive rule and rose against him. The Nizam was very cruel to them. The women who had seen the worst of this oppression joined the movement in large numbers. So there was a mass protest against the Nizam of Hyderabad. Hyderabad town was nerve center of this movement. The Communist and the Hyderabad Congress were in the front of the movement. So politically it also gained speed. The Nizam responded by unleashing paramilitary force. This was the biggest blunder of his life. He responded by unleashing paramilitary force, and these paramilitary force were known as Razakars, on the people. The atrocities and the communal nature of the Razakars knew no bounds. They murdered, maimed, raped and looted, targeting particularly the non-Muslims. The central government had to order the army to tackle the situation. In September 1948, Indian army moved in to control the Nizam's force, and after a few days of intermittent fighting, the Nizam surrendered. They led to Hyderabad's accession to India. When I'll share the video, you'll understand how tactfully Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel handled the situation, and the situation demanded the army to interfere because the Razakars were doing a lot of communal stuff there. They murdered people, maimed people, especially non-Muslims were targeted. So Indian government had to interfere there. This was about Hyderabad, the Nizam of Hyderabad, how Hyderabad joined India. While there was a war between India and Hyderabad, the Nizam said they would give Indian army a tough fight, a mother of all wars. But later on, what happened is history. Moving on, if we talk about Manipur, let's see what happened there. A few days before independence, the Maharaja of Manipur, Bodh Chandra Singh, signed the Instrument of Accession. Now, what is Instrument of Accession? This Hyderabad Nizam also had to sign Instrument of Accession. Instrument of Accession is nothing but an agreement between India and that particular princely state that they want to join India and want to be controlled by India. They can be controlled by India. They will abide with the rules and regulations of India. This is called the Article of Accession. Instrument of Accession with the Indian government on the assurance that the internal autonomy of Manipur would be maintained. They signed the accession, but they said that the internal autonomy, मतलब उनका अंदर का जो कंट्रोल था मणिपुर का, वो उनके साथ रहेगा. ऐसा नहीं कि मणिपुर ने साइन कर दिया आर्टिकल ऑफ इंस्ट्रूमेंट ऑफ एक्सेशन, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कम्प्लीटली इंडिया के कंट्रोल में आ जाएगा, इंटरनल जो उन लोगों का कंट्रोल था वो हट जाएगा. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. उन लोगों ने बोला वी विल साइन इट बट द इंटरनल ऑटोनॉमी विल रिमेन. अंडर प्रेशर ऑफ पब्लिक ओपिनियन, Maharaja held election in Manipur in June 1948 and the state became a constitutional monarchy. Thus, Manipur was the first part of India to hold an election based on universal adult franchise. A question might come, which was the first part of India to hold election based on universal adult franchise? The answer is Manipur. In the Legislative Assembly of Manipur, there were sharp differences. Here comes the problem. सब कुछ तो सही दिख रहा था, आर्टिकल ऑफ एक्सेशन साइन कर लिया, सब कुछ हो गया, बट यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम आ रहा था. The state congress wanted the merger, but other political parties were directly against such merger with India. The government of India succeeded in pressurizing the Maharaja into signing the merger agreement in September 1949. Pressurize करके उनको जो agreement था उसको sign कराया गया. without consulting the popularly elected legislative assembly of Manipur. ये एक इशू था मणिपुर को लेके, that the Maharaja was, the government of India succeeded in pressurizing the Maharaja into signing the merger in September 1949 without consulting the popularly elected legislative assembly of Manipur. जो इलेक्शन होने के बाद जो लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली आए, जो डिसीजन लेगा मणिपुर के लिए, उनके कंसेंट के विरुद्ध जाकर, उनसे कंसेंट नहीं लेकर ये डिसीजन लिया गया, जिसकी वजह से आज तक दिस कॉज अ लॉट ऑफ एंगर एंड रिसेंटमेंट इन मणिपुर एंड द रिपरकशंस ऑफ विच आर स्टिल बीइंग फेल्ड. अगर आप लोग हिस्ट्री पढ़ेंगे मणिपुर का, तब आप लोग को पता चलेगा कि क्या हुआ था एक्चुअली में. इतना डिटेल तो मैं नहीं जा सकता. इफ़ यू रीड the biography or you read the life history of various fighters, various freedom fighters who came from Manipur, you'll understand what they dealt, what they faced. Especially one person, I forgot her name. I'll give you the name of, I have the name in my diary, written in my diary, but I can't tell you the name. So if you read about her, you'll also understand what Manipur went through. So this was about two states, Hyderabad as well as Manipur. In the next class we'll understand about reorganization of states, wherein we will discuss in detail about all these states, what happened, how we got the states that we have now. You can see the state here. This is the current situation of our states, and this was the map of India before the states were reorganized. Later on, all these states were clubbed together and bigger states were created for better control. What happened, we'll discuss it in the next class. If you have any doubts regarding today's explanation, you can freely ask me over WhatsApp, or you can give me a call before 10 p.m. at night and after 7 a.m. in the morning. Thank you.